Smart 24, driving business.
All right, and of course, you can grow your investment with Zabo, a platform by Altex East Africa at this particular time with only 26 minutes to the top of the hour. The market's opened at 8:15 a.m. and Zabo is a platform that is giving you that advantage. Use the USSD code *292# and start your investment journey with Zabo, a platform by Altex East Africa. Altex East Africa says do something new. Zabo, my money, my future. And of course, with just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can be able to kickstart off your investment journey and quickly see how best you can go with your investment today. Zabo has markets that open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. The minimum amount you can use to invest is 15,000 Ugandan shillings, but these markets are only closed on weekends and during the public holidays. So it's a no hassle for you if you want to kickstart off your investment journey with Zabo. Now let's get to what is making rounds from the world of sports. Now, with sports business, we head to the United Kingdom, where we start with the English Premier League. Struggling Chelsea have now acquired the services of Portuguese forward João Felix. Now, Chelsea did sign Atletico Madrid and Portugal forward on loan until the end of the season. João Felix joined from Atletico Madrid for the remainder of this season as the Blues beat Premier League rivals Manchester United and Arsenal to the signing of the forward, with neither side willing to pay 11 million euros, that is roughly 9.69 million pounds loan fee plus his wages. Well, apparently, Felix could be in contention to make his Chelsea debut at Fulham on Thursday night today, but the Blues boss Graham Potter said the club are awaiting confirmation on whether or not he can play in the West London derby. Now, when you look at how much Chelsea has so far spent in the transfer of January, Benoit Badiashile at 35 million pounds, Andri Santos from Vasco da Gama at 18 million pounds did join also in January. David Datro Fofana from Molde joined at 10 million pounds. Now, João Felix from Atletico Madrid on loan. Now, Chelsea have spent a total of 63 million pounds in this January transfer window alone, and surprisingly, they are not close to the top 4 spots in the Premier League, and they are out of the FA Cup as well. Well, you can definitely see how much Todi Bowley is spending ever since he brought in Graham Potter, as well as ever since he took over as the Chelsea owner. Now, when you look at this, Atletico did say that Felix agreed to extend his contract with the Spanish club by 1 year until his deal is up in 2027. João Felix traveled to London on Tuesday to undergo a medical ahead of joining Chelsea for the rest of the season, and he was unveiled as a Chelsea player on social media, that is on Chelsea's socials. The 23-year-old becomes Chelsea's 4th signing of the month following the arrivals of Benoit Badiashile, David Datro Fofana, and Andre Santos, as Chelsea is struggling with more of its injuries from the star players in there, and they wish that an addition with this particular João Felix will be adding something onto the club. Away from Chelsea, let's talk broadcasting, as the DAZN has reported a $1.36 billion operating loss as of 2021. Now, the DSTV group made an overall loss of $2.33 billion. That is of a loss. That is approximately 2.17 billion euros in 2021. Now, this brought the company's total losses over the past 3 years, reported by financial years to $5 billion. That is according to details being revealed. Now, the global multi-platform broadcaster and media group's financial results for 2021 are the company's heaviest losses to date by any metric. However, DSZN's operating loss, perhaps the most important aspect of the annual result, was far lower than the total group loss, coming in at 1.36 billion. This was still $200 million more than DSZN's operating loss in 2020, which stood at $1.15 billion. Now, also lastly, from sports business, as we sum it up, we head to Australia as we look at the Australian Open. As Tennis Australia has announced that the Australian Open media partner, Kia, has extended its sponsorship for another 5 years, making it one of the longest sports sponsorships in Australia's history, if we are to look at that same situation. Now, on the other hand, the deal has been extended until 2028 with Kia, the Australian Open's longest serving sponsor, having held the position of major partner since 2002. Well, the Australian Open opens up the tennis calendar every year if you are to follow up on sports in that same matter. And now Australian Open's major partner Kia has extended its stay in the competition to further more 5 years till 2028. More money in sports, I tell you. And of course, that brings us to the end of our sports business outlets this morning. All right, now with sports, we now cross to Bariji Andrew to give us the latest in the world of entertainment. And what does he have for us this particular morning? Bariji Andrew, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing very great, Jerome. Good morning. Quite a cold, very cold Thursday, I would say.
Yeah, cold and funny. It's January because it did start with some hot temperatures, and now it is a bit cold in some of the areas, I should say, as well.
Very important. Now, about what we should anticipate in the business and entertainment this morning, just to give you just a little brief highlight of what we should anticipate, we get to realize that Lionsgate is adapting the same strategy of Disney regarding employees reporting at the work premises. And now we also see the aspect, and of course, as the Universal Music Group CEO ascertains that Apple and Spotify artists are being undervalued in a sense. Now, and we shall calm it down with the AMC theater stock surging. And of course, quite lots have been happening in these companies' entertainment profile late last year and of course early this year. So many prospects. Now getting into officially the business and entertainment, we see Lionsgate adapting the Disney employee strategy. I remember yesterday on the show, we realized that actually Disney, the new CEO Bob Iger, said that workers will be reporting to office 4 days a week and 1 day off home. And the same strategy applies for Lionsgate. Just a day after him, that initiative being put in place, Lionsgate also comes and implements the same, and of course expecting the employees to be reporting to the Lionsgate studios at least every 4 days a week. The only difference is that Disney is starting to implement its initiative on March 1st, but Lionsgate comes 17th of January, they are going to be implementing that. So you get to realize how Disney is a very commanding, nice company when it comes to entertainment and making decisions. So that is something so interesting, and it should challenge you right there as a company. Of course, we can not all be voices, but being a voice whereby what you say is what you go by, that means you can even set the prices, the streaming prices you would like. If Disney sets a certain streaming price, that means other companies are also going to adapt that. So you get to realize how they have really worked their way out to become that influential entertainment company right there. Now, Lionsgate will also acquire employees to work in the office. That's for 4 days a week, with Friday as the work from home. Their policy, which has in the works before the eager announcement, starts 17th of January. And of course, in October 2021, the studio started a phased return in which many employees work from office. That's for 3 days a week. But we see that some other companies now, like Warner Brothers Discovery and Sony Entertainment, for them, their strategy is that employees report to work 3 days a week and 2 days just home. So some other companies are not going to change their policies regarding when employees should report to work. But anyway, it's all about what the vision bearers have in mind. At the end of the day, it's not that it should be this way, or that these people that report 4 days a week are much more better than those that report 3. No, it's all about what the vision bearers have in mind, why they choose those particular days, and why sometimes it's very important for the workers to stay home and they can actually work from there. So that's it, coming in there from the Lionsgate regarding that. Now, away from Lionsgate, we head straight to the music this time around. It's been a while since we last did something musical in the show when it comes to the business and entertainment. But today, of course, something so amazing coming up. And as we see the Universal Music Group CEO claiming that Apple and Spotify artists are undervalued. Wow. Let's get into this report and see what it says. Yeah, Universal Music Group CEO, that's Lucian Grainage, said the business models for music streaming need to evolve. That's to better reward artists. That's regardless if they are signed to a major label. And of course, and the listeners, in a message to staff sent on Wednesday, the executive took aim at the royalty model that streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify were, of course, undervaluing the artists. These services, broadly speaking, determine their payments to rights holders based on a pool of money coming from subscriptions and ads divided by contributions to the total number of streams. Now, these different platforms offer different, they offer different packages regarding when it comes to rewarding artists back the royalties from their music earnings. So Spotify ratings are a little bit different from those of Apple. One day we'll get some time and we break down the different streaming platforms and get to understand what is the best streaming platform for an artist where you can actually make much more money. We shall do an analysis time to come regarding this. But away from this, you get to realize that I've come to notice that Tidal, being a streaming platform, it's a little bit underrated as compared to Spotify and Apple, because these are much more of rock and roll kind of music that is really there, the pop music, unlike the Tidal, which is more of the black music. But Tidal seems to be paying much more money as compared to Spotify and Apple. But surprisingly, most of these streaming platforms have a tendency of acquiring catalogs, music catalogs. For example, if Universal Music Group releases an album, Spotify can come out and say, we are the ones having the right to distribute that album. So any other streaming platforms that takes that album, or if you illegally put it on another streaming platform, you're going to be filed for, of course, breach of the contract. Or if that streaming platform wants to put that album on their platform, they have to get rights from that company which acquired the catalog. So now you find that one of the reasons why the CEO is saying that Universal, the CEO of Universal Music Group says that Spotify and Apple artists are undervalued. There is this aspect: you've acquired my catalog. At the same time, when it comes to you're making more money from my music and you're paying me very little. I remember most of the subscribers, each country, the subscription rate at which any person, for example, if I'm in Africa, if I'm subscribing to Spotify, my monthly payment is not the same as somebody in the United States of America. It's not the same as somebody in Europe. Yes, if you didn't know that, maybe some of you already know it, but just in case you don't know, get to understand that. Somebody in, depending on the location where you are, will determine the fee you're going to pay for Spotify. And it so happens that there are most of the people that subscribe to these channels go for the free versions. Of course, free versions are limited. There are songs you may not be able to get, but some people are very comfortable with that. So you find that an artist, for you to really make money off this, you have to really work so hard to ensure that you get those numbers. How they make this is that Every after, probably because most of these companies reward you after a number of views that you've obtained. So if you obtain like 1,000, probably 10,000, there is money you're given on that. So Spotify, the numbers are so big for you to at least earn some reasonable amount of money, like at least $1,000. If you are to say that you're going to earn $1,000 from your music stream on Spotify, on average, you need to hit 1 million and above streams. Sometimes, which is not easy for new artists. So Universal Music Group CEO was right to come and say that. Now, though the CEO name checked though Grainage name checked Spotify and Universal Music Group's collaborations with the company as part of the industry's shift towards streaming, the CEO said it was time to develop a new model to keep the pace with change. So definitely, he's advocating for a new model on how they actually do the business regarding revenues to be shared to the artists. Now, he also goes ahead to say that there is a growing disconnect between one, on the other hand, the devotion to those artists whom fans value and seek to support, and on the other way, subscription fees are paid that are paid by the platforms. Now, under the current model, the critical contributions of too many artists as well as engagement of too many fans is being undervalued still further. He made that claim. Now, without sharing specifics, Grainage is the CEO of Universal Music Group, said the ideal updated model would not pit artists against one another, but would instead support the DIY indie and major artists. And of course, that would similarly reward subscribers and offer an enhanced value proposition on that different platform. So you get to see that as realized. These are now the people coming up, of course, trying to speak for the artists and the voice of the artists to ensure that there is at least a fair distribution of incomes regarding to share, because there is quite a lot of exploitation from some of these streaming platforms. And it was right to come out and say that these are things that people actually fear to talk about, because probably some people's businesses might be getting affected. Sometimes you have to be careful of what you say. Ask Kanye West about that. He will tell you what that really means. But I think we need such voices into the industry because a move starts from that side, and before we know it, it's already in Africa in regarding to equality and equity distribution of funds. Yes. Now, that's it for the Universal Music Group. Now, as we come to the end of the business and entertainment, we take a look at AMC stock prices increasing. Last year, AMC was really in a great crisis, and we realized that some of the workers were laid off, and it was not really performing so well. Their streaming wasn't really doing so well. But of course, the management sat down and tried to come up with quite some new strategies to ensure that at least 2023 is a little bit much more fair when it comes to making money. Now, AMC Theaters, of course, has got its so-called stock status bar as shares in the mega exhibitor posted a double-digit surge on Wednesday. Parent AMC Entertainment Holdings saw its stock price close at $4.91 that's per stock, up by 85 cents or nearly 21%. So that was an increase of about 85 cents, which comes to an attribution of 21% increment, with retail investors piling into the company as financial markets kick into gear for 2023. The latest meme stock mania for the date-laden cinema giant was preceded earlier in the day by shares in struggling retailer that's Bed Bath and Beyond jumping by around 50%. Now, this is quite so interesting. I remember, Ali, one of the initiatives of AMC Theaters this year is to come up with a Visa card whereby you can actually purchase, if you're going to those theaters to watch the movies released by AMC, you purchase items using that Visa card. And of course, there are rewards, there are benefits that come along with that. And I think that's one of the initiatives that are going to really help them. Not yet into implementation as yet, but of course, some other strategies were being laid down come 2023 to ensure that there is actually a much more better revenues that are coming in through the company right there. Now, representatives for AMC Theaters offered no comment when asked about the latest speculative share price jump. Wow. And of course, for the company, The cinema chain has seen its stock dramatically rise and fall, due to casual traders encouraged by Reddit to buy up and meme AMC stock. So it's been a little bit volatile. It's been changing too much for the past year. Now shares in AMC hit a 52-week low of 3.84 billion. That's on 28th December 2022, down sharply from a 52-week high of $21.09 per share. That's in March 2022. So you get to see that. That comes against a market backdrop where global box office is widely expected to improve in 2023. And of course, though it is not expected to return to the pre-pandemic levels as the flow of movies to theaters continues to be slower than before. Of course, definitely we know that there are anticipations to see that the box office movie, like in terms of how people respond to going to box office to buy the tickets, increases come 2023 as one of the ways to offset these difficulties AMC has been going through, but not only AMC, but also other players into the entertainment industry. Though, despite that rise, we don't think it will go back before the pandemic. It's not going to happen. Maybe it will happen, but after some very good time, as the world is still trying to adjust. Now, the meme stock surge also follows that initiatives, including branded popcorn, that's credit cards, introduced by AMC in an attempt to mollify that's frustrated, of course, investors. That is CEO Aaron calling for a free salary. At the same time, you remember earlier this year, actually late last year, I think that was the last week of December, that CEO of AMC said he froze his salary. Not only him, but also other top directors, saying that the company is not performing really well. Investors are getting stranded, But now the new initiatives which were put in place, like the Visa credit card, some of these initiatives are helping AMC to actually recover some good revenues right there. And I think that comes back to all movie owners, movie company owners right there. It may not be movie, it could be a movie. Have that in mind, getting to understand the business that you're getting into. It's very profitable, yes, but it will take some time for you to start to realize those returns to massives. So I know you could be already having people, you already have staff, you have to pay them, the editors, the visual effects, personnel, but remember, you are the leader and you are the vision, and the leadership is responsibility. You're leading an entertainment company, you gotta be responsible for whatever actions you take, because if a CEO says that, no salary for me and other top directors, so that what does that communicate to you right there? What actually the CEO saying, making that statement that no salary for him and the top directors was like the focus was to rely on the investors because they were getting stranded, so they were minding more of the investors getting at least more, like the money which would have been used to pay them, at least let it be put back into those stocks, perhaps, so that the value rises and investors get back their money. So we see prices increasing. Is that does that surprise you? No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen by mistake. It started from somewhere. And that's it for the business and entertainment this morning. It's exactly 57 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. And at this particular time, back to you, Joran.
Okay. And that is it with the entertainment business. Richard Andrew, thank you very much for that particular update. And Richard will be back on ground at 9:30 to at least give us what is happening on ground in the CBD as well. Smartman's business will continue immediately after the break. But before we even go into the break, make it a deal to kickstart off your investment journey with Zabo, a platform by Altex East Africa, which is giving you that particular idea. Use the USSD code *292# and make sure your investment kicks off with them. Zabo says, my money, my future. With just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, your investment can easily kickstart off, and you can choose any preferred maturity period for any bond and other various products available on the same platform. Zabu, My Money, My Future. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. The markets are closed full time during the weekend and on public holidays. Zabu, My Money, My Future. You are watching Smart Means Business here on Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business as well. After the break, I will be returning with the SMB Insight. Keep it Smart 24.